Red One is one of those movies that looks good on the trailer, but then you find out it is actually a very bad movie. It was actually a movie I had some expectations for, but like most movies in the failing year of 2024, those were crushed right out of the window, guys. I was hoping it would awake my Christmas spirit and be more like a cool Christmas comedy from last year called Dashing Through the Snow and make me break out in good laughs. But there's nothing funny about the movie, and we will break down its profound issues and problems today. The first issue, let's call that the woke agenda issue. In so many movies today, female characters are in natural roles, and it happens in this movie as well. Who is the director of the strange organization called Mora, which are the protectors of mythological beasts or something? Of course, it is a woman. Not necessarily a problem if the character was better written, but most of the time, that is not the case. She becomes the worst, and she becomes the most annoying character on set, given that she also takes a lot of the screen time in what is like a seed, a very natural character. Of course, yeah, you might tell me it is a fantasy movie, but still it happens in a lot of movies. For example, in the Renfield movie, both the assistants were in the FBI together. Another character worth mentioning in this cemented woke agenda is the chief villain known as Growler, which of course might be a real mythological character reference to an Atlantic mythology, but that does not change the fact that these people will play just like in the ad and practically just like in the newest Deadpool movie. It is just done 100% for inclusion, not to create the best villain. In the Doctor Strange multiverse movie, they actually crafted a good female villain, Scarlet Witch, but nowadays it seems more like an effortless approach for me. Why have a female villain just to have a female villain? Instead of putting work behind it to make it work, then it just becomes unnatural. Her evil plan is not too much of evil either. Putting everybody in these crystal balls or whatever, it does not seem like the most evil plan I've ever seen. Same goes to Scarlet Witch, where her revenge is just based on that she wants to become his other version of herself and actually had children. That's a real problem with female villains. Their evil plans suck so much it becomes laughable. And for some unexplained reason, Chris Evans and his son in the movie actually escapes this crystal ball just by doing emotional deep talk. The son is also the next character I will be talking about in his Vogue Agenda play, which is like this insecure, sensitive fanboy that never says directly what it means, and that is supported by his bad parent mother that compensates for insecurity. In all of this character would also have been done by a girl, but nowadays, of course, the agenda stays on, and girls are much tougher than boys, but you see during the course of this mode. My second issue, talking point, which I will be talking about regarding this movie, is the Dwayne Johnson character. He has done this in some of his latest movies nowadays, where he plays his most serious character. Of course, perhaps he manages to be this dead serious deaf kind of character, but for me, it just does not work. It feels completely unnatural to me that he is not this unserious character like he is in Yonkers and Red Notice. When he does this kind of character for me, it feels completely out of place. For me, it's a role he can't really play effectively. At least it ain't entertaining when neither Chris Evans or Dwayne Johnson are trolling a little bit during the movie, and it is like Black Adam all over again. Another problem I have with this movie is about the comedy in it or the lack of it. Sadly, I did not break into a laugh for one single part of the movie, and I feel in a lot of situations, it's situations where they try to force the comedy upon you. In the Krampus slap game, or the thing with just snowmen that are chasing them and trying to turn them into ice or something, when they are sent to that jail, rather than making it natural and having characters that feel naturally funny, like Ludacris and Little Harry in the Dashing Through the Snow movie from last year. Another profound problem I have while watching this movie is simply that the movie becomes too ridiculous. You have a lot of examples like this, for instance with the second Hitman's bodyguard movie where it goes off the rails, and it does so in this movie as well, with the hacking stuff, with the beast that they are interrogating, the Headless Horseman or whatever. What they try to make comedy of is that he does not know who hired him because it was from the dark web, blah 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 blah, and his interrogation becomes a snooze fest before the real mission starts. It would have been better if they just kept it simple. They were trying to find Santa Claus, you could see who kidnapped him, and they did not bake in all this extra mythological beasts and such, which half the movie is really about. J.K. Simmons is almost not in it, and it is a Christmas movie. What were they thinking? Not about Christmas, surely, but I guess it was where Dashing Through the Snow kept it simple, because it was mostly just about Santa Claus and his workers, these people with the Santamobile that was ratifying him, and less about this advanced energy technology stuff. Anyways, this office does not really either look like a real office when I bring Chris Evans to the interrogation room, and I just feel like in a lot of moments, the time are wasted in this movie. When you don't even see how Santa got kidnapped, he is just gone and there's a red alert, which perhaps is the only time in the movie when you are really excited. Sadly, of course, the story that follows is everything less than exciting. The only decent character in this shit show of a movie is the Krampus character played by Christopher Heavier, which you of course might know from Game of Thrones, but he is the only one that feels naturally comfortable in the role he plays. He should have been a villain, but when we are at this sick place with the Krampus slap game and everything, that is pretty decent. It is also quite bad that things are not explained and why he decides to help his brother, which is Santa Claus of course, but that he comes back and gives us a slight dose of entertainment is anyways a relief. In a movie that is very hard to get through. The way he atones himself and acts, you just see how much more he is invested in the role than any other actor in the movie. If we take a further look at another issue with the movie, we need to address the action scenes which are just done in a sloppy way. There's not a lot of thought into it, and it is not like Dwayne gets any opposition. He is just like this invincible super machine that can't be broken. That's why simply all the fights are quite ridiculous. All those with Chris Evans that suddenly for some unexplained reason manages to stop time and walk through the same moment one more time, those are also quite ridiculous. The tension at times, however, can be a bit decent, but that does not really help when it is not backed up by better scenes. An issue I have mostly neglected so far is the part about explanation. It is hard for viewers when things are not properly explained. Why does Krylan want to punish everybody on an idolist? Why do Chris Evans and his son manage to escape from the crystal balls just by emotional deep talk? Or why is there a need for an organization such as Mora? That is just a long, broad list of things that are not explained in a satisfying way, and it ruins my entertainment as a viewer when it is so much I don't really understand. The last issue I have with this movie that clearly is not good comes to the emotional deep talk. This emotional deep talk between Dwayne Johnson and J.K. Simmons has to talk about the Christmas spirit and how Dwayne does not see it anymore, between Chris Evans and his son in the movie, and also of course between the son and his hopelessly rugged mother. Whenever there's a stop in the story, when they are lost in this glass bowl together, we of course have to do the emotional deep talk that drives 80% of the movie and becomes like an annoying time steal intended to make the movie boring. Of course, you do not need to cut out all the emotion from the movie, but it becomes so excessive that it ruins the entertainment so profoundly, and then it becomes a roadblock for a comedy that could have been better without all the sensitivity. For me, this one is a massive disappointment, and I will give this a 4 out of 10. And thanks, Red One, you ruined my Christmas spirit.